Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today's live event, What's New? Modern Requirements Release 2022 Update. My name is Rosie, and I am your host for today. We also have Asif here, the Chief Technologist of Modern Requirements. So I will kick off the webinar and then pass it over to Asif, who will provide an update as well as demo on our 2022 release. So before we begin, just a few housekeeping items. If you have joined us in the past, you know the drill. We always send out the recording of our events afterwards. So if you're unable to stay for the full hour or just want to share with your team, you will have the recording in your inbox by the end of the week. It will also be available on our website along with all of our other webinars and virtual events for you to watch. We have allocated some time at the end of the presentations for Q&A, so feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A window at any time. We will address these at the end. If we run out of time and we couldn't get to your question, or additional questions might come up after the event, you can always shoot us an email at info@modernrequirements.com. We will get to your answer as soon as possible. There is also a survey that will pop up at the end of the webinar, so please take a second of your time to provide your valuable feedback so that we can keep improving on these webinars to suit your needs. I see a lot of new participants who are not our current customers of Modern Requirements. So you can actually visit the link on the screen. I will also paste it in the chat box to get your 30-day free trial of Modern Requirements at no cost or obligation. It is a great way to try it out and see if it's the right fit for your team. Throughout this webinar, you will get a better sense of some of our awesome features and capabilities of Modern Requirements for DevOps. So if that has piqued your interest, please visit the link and start your free trial right away so that you can try all the features. As I mentioned, I do see a few names on the webinar that I do not recognize. So I would like to go through just a quick introduction to who we are so we're all on the same page. Modern Requirements is the world's leading requirements management solution. Modern Requirements for DevOps is our flagship product. It extends and adds new capabilities in Azure DevOps, so business analysts, product owners, system engineers, quality assurance leads, and people like yourselves can better manage projects throughout their entire lifecycle and easily collaborate with teams involved. With Modern Requirements for DevOps, you can author, elicit, automate, trace, and define requirements directly in Azure DevOps. Since we are the one and only requirements management tool that is directly built within Azure DevOps, this means that there is no other tool in the market that is a better fit than ours. With Modern Requirements for DevOps, you can turn your Azure DevOps account into a powerful requirements solution that ensures that your Azure DevOps is your single source of truth. We have been a strategic partner of Microsoft since 2010. As a Gold Certified Partner, we work closely with teams at Microsoft. This ensures that we are always in alignment, adapting and growing with Microsoft. And on top of that, our clients can take advantage of the scalability and the security of Azure with streamlined deployment and management. Software Review is a division of Infotech Research Group, which is a third-party independent IT research and advisory firm. They conducted an in-depth study on requirements management tools in the market. As a result, we are super proud to receive the gold medal as well as the champion badge, earning us a top spot in the Best Requirements Management Awards. Our composite score is 9 out of 10, which measures our clients' rating of our capabilities, product feature, likeliness to recommend, likelihood of renewal, fair cost, and value driven. Compared to the category average, taking an average of how other requirements tools were rated, We do a much better job equipping our clients the tools they need to continuously improve their requirements lifecycle and drive real business value. And with access to knowledgeable teams and plenty of useful resources, our clients are much more satisfied with our support, training, usability, and intuitiveness of our product. As for our clients on this webinar, we just want to say that you have made the right choice in trusting us and want to say thanks to those who were part of the survey. If there's anything we need to improve on, we're all ears. Now, for those of you who are wondering specifically, why do our clients love us? Well, at the very basic, we help resolve issues and challenges you are currently facing. The common problems listed here might resonate with you a little bit. Before discovering modern requirements for DevOps, all of our clients face at least a handful of these common issues. Just to highlight a few, many waste their time cutting and pasting requirements, little to no requirements reuse, painful traceability practices, delay in review, approvals, and reporting. So that is why we created modern requirements for DevOps. With it, you can eliminate all these challenges. We ensure that you have the right tool for every aspect of your requirements lifecycle. And that is why modern requirements for DevOps come with an extensive feature set, including trace analysis, review management, baseline, reporting, diagramming, mockups, and its unique Smart Docs authoring environment. And you will see some of these tools today. These features are always improving and growing based on our client feedback, and hence why we have released webinars like this. So to summarize, thousands of our users worldwide have experienced shortened cycle times, increased value flow, and reduced development rework. Our users have consistently reported 40 to 50% increases in requirement productivity and quality thanks to the automation behind our features. If you're curious to learn more about modern requirements for DevOps, there is a handout that is attached to this webinar under the handout section, where you can take a look at some of the features and details that we will share with you in the handout. Well, that includes the overview. Now, for the release updates, in case some of you are not familiar with it, to download the latest version, all you have to do is click on the client area at the top of our website, then log in, scroll down to find the download button. For the rest of the webinar, we'll go through new features enhancement included in this new release, such as test case API enhancement in trace analysis and smart reporting, Smart Docs enhancements, word import enhancements, date and time zone support, RegIF import and export feature demo, and many more. So before I pass it over to Asa to do the updates, I want to get to know our audience a bit more. So I'm going to pull up a couple of poll questions. It would be great if everyone can select their answer. So I'm going to pull the first question. Okay, so the first question is, oh, we're getting responses. Are you currently using Azure DevOps with modern requirements for DevOps? Let's see, answers popping in now. Okay, I'll just give everyone a few seconds. Okay, well, it looks like majority of people, or a little bit more than half, are on the cloud as a service, and then 30% is on-prem, and 20% is considering using modern requirements. So welcome for those who are new. Okay, and then I'm going to go on to the next question. Which modern requirements capability is the top feature your organization uses the most? So this is some of our popular features. Please select your answer. Oh, sorry. There we go. Well, a lot of people love smart dogs. Okay. And just share this. So 65% love smart dogs, 21% on traceability, and then we have reporting and the review management. Okay, and then last question here. Have you tried the new word import capability? Okay, we'll just give everyone a few seconds. Answers are popping in now. Okay, let's see what the result looks like. So 75% said no, and then 20% just found out about it. Maybe we can cover this during our update, Asif. So yeah, that's the poll. Thank you for everyone for submitting their answer. And now I'm going to pass it over to Asif.
All right, thank you, Rosie. All right, folks, let's take a look at what's new in our 2022 release. So I'm going to take you through a quick PowerPoint highlighting the key items that we're releasing, and then give you a demonstration of those enhancements. So one of the things that we've implemented is the support for time zone. So obviously date times are shown in different areas within the application. And we had requests from people. Some people said we wanted to see date time in the local time zone versus UCT. And people had requests for different formats depending on where you're located, as we have users around the world. So we have implemented the ability for you to select for your account which format and time zone you want to see the data in. So under the admin area, there is the configuration. I'll show you what that looks like shortly. And then you'll see the appropriate information showing up. So you can enable if you want to see the time zone. So it'll show you its UCT, and the format is selectable as well. The other thing that we did was for test case reporting or test execution reporting, to be more precise, we've added the support for test points. So the test point is in Azure DevOps the latest result on a test execution within a test suite. And so you have run it many times. So if you've already used the test management reporting, you can see we show you multiple results of multiple execution of the same test case. But what if you just wanted the last one? That's the support for test point. So we have added support for test point, and I'll show you what that looks like. And test point obviously has a lot of properties in it, such as the outcome, the config name, the tester who's running it, and so on. Now, the other thing to note is what we've done is the test point, as in test run or test results or step run results, they are not real work items in Azure DevOps. So we've created virtual work items and virtual links, which really is an abstraction into the test database that we then use to pull data from the test database and represent that information for both reporting and traceability, for smart reporting and traceability. On the we've also added additional fields into the reporting. So total tests that were run, how many passed, how many failed, and so on. And also we've added other properties in the test results of the execution of the case, and also added the ability to add screenshots, which many of our clients have asked for from the test execution in the report. What you'll find is that the lion's share of the R&D we do, probably 90 some odd %, is really based on our client feedback. So keep those feedback coming, and you will see us gradually implement many of the things you're asking for. Of course, in the Microsoft Azure test execution, you can take screenshots and attach them into your test run data, and then the test run images will show up in your reports. The other thing is to do with smart docs. So we've added a right panel where you can actually see the description. You don't have to open up the smart editor. You can actually just do it from the right panel as well now. So it just makes the process more efficient. And the one other thing we have added is the ability for you to configure an area path for a smart doc. So many of our clients came and said, hey, when we create a new smart doc, we want to be able to assign a given area path, and any new work item we create should take that area path. So we have now implemented that. So you'll see in your, when you do new smart doc, you'll see an area path dropdown where you can choose an area path. If you in the configuration, don't make it mandatory. The default will be the current team within the ADO project. But if you do make it mandatory, it'll be left blank, and you have to explicitly select which area path you want to assign to. The other thing we have implemented is in Word import. Those of you that do use Word import, you'll find that until now we did not support the importing of lists, as in bullets or numbered lists. Now you can import those as individual work items as well. So we've been doing a lot of work in Word import. We've added a whole bunch of functionality. This is the latest piece of addition we have done to it. We continue to work on Word import capabilities based on, again, your feedback. So actually, let's skip that. I'm going to show you all of that. Then we have done some messaging so that we're confirming certain things. So small stuff. Also, we have added the support for special characters in diagramming, simulation, use case, smart notes, and Alice. They've already supported in other areas, but these areas were not supporting special characters, so they do now within the names. But of course, there are some characters that are not permitted. The other thing we have done is the suspect link for to identify through Dirty Flag what needs to be reviewed again has been improved, particularly in a performance way, and there's enhancement done in the custom ID area as well. Lastly, in the review management, the audit report now is exporting additional data within the audit report manifest. So those of you actually that do need a higher order of support for FDA or other compliance reasons, this additional information, particularly about who is in this case closing the item, has a more complete manifest involved in it. Yeah, and we've added some additional information within the audit report as well. Okay. So that is a quick summary. Now let me show you what that looks like. Let's go here. Okay, so the one thing is the right panel. So when you go to a smart dock, you will see that if you open up the right panel, either through a search or insert, you will see this right panel. So you can insert work items, you can search within the smart dock, or you can go to the smart editor. So this is a mini smart editor in the sense that firstly, it's once you open it, it stays open. You can flip between different views like this. If you make an update to this, then the update reflects in the document right away. Of course, the original alternate was to open up the smart editor and you make edits here. Now, you may still want to do that sometimes in case you want to add a table and do more advanced things. You would want to open up the smart editor, but for a lot of the edits, you can simply do it through the right panel. And also, when you go to the things like user story, where there are multiple rich text controls, then you will see the tabs just show up here. And if you need to, you can resize these and so that you have more space to work with. So that's just from a productivity point of view, I think you'll find that helpful. The other thing is when you go to create a new smart dock, you will see this drop down. So right now, I've not made area path mandatory, so it populated the drop down with the current team that I'm in, and I'm in the default June webinar area path or June webinar June team right now, so that's defaulting to that. And so now when I create any work item within this smart dock, it will default to that one. Unless in your smart dock you've specified something different, then that will take precedent. But notwithstanding any other configuration you've done, the area path you choose will be your default area path for all work items you create in this smart dock. The other thing you can do is, as you will see in here, I've got change date. So I've just added the field to the smart dock. So when was it last changed? So in the template designer, in the meta template designer, I've configured the system to show the change date as a property. Okay. And so you can see the change date is being shown directly within smart docs. Now, this particular date is using a format of UCT, time zone, and this particular format. But that is configured through the account administration or collection administration, where at the very bottom, you can actually choose whether you want to see data in UCT format. If you disable this, then it will show you data in your current time zone. So it converts it to local time zone, wherever you are located. If you enable it, then it'll always show you data in UCT format. This enables the second checkbox will allow you to choose whether you want to see the time zone within the date time text. So if it is UCT, it will tell you it's UCT. If you're from Eastern time zone, it will tell you that it is from Eastern time zone. And then you can choose your formats. So what format do you want to use to show your date pattern or your time pattern? So this way, no matter where you are, you can have the system reflect this information in the manner that your region or organization needs it. And this not only reflects in smart docs, but everywhere within modern requirements. The other thing that we've implemented is the word import thing I was talking about. So if you go to word import, and you can choose a file that you want to import. So let's choose this file, and it will show us the document. And you can see I've created this 2.1, and then there's bulleted items or numbered items below it. And there's a bit of a structure to it as well. But what I want to do is when I import, I want to import every line as a separate work item. Okay. So how do you do that? So in the rule set designer, at some point in time, what we used to require for you to do is to create an XML file that provides the mapping. But since then, we've actually built out a user interface which specifies the rules of how to interpret a file. Of course, if your files have the same format, you'll use the same rule set file. If you have 2 or 3 or 4 different types of Word documents, then you'll create separate rule set files for each one of them. This is the rule set file I'm going to use right now. I'm basically saying that heading 1 level should be a section. The heading 2 level is again a section, but then I'm going to use lists, and they'll be mapped to requirements, and so on. So I'll specify what are the formats we need. And in this case, you can see I'm going and I'm specifying if it's security, then treat it in a certain way. Okay. So if it's a security, then the bullets underneath it will map to non-functional requirements. So you can be very precise or very generic. That's what you have to do. You can also specify things like do you want to include certain different rows of your list can map to different things even. So you can be very precise how you want to do things. Now, so you define your rule set, and then you come here, and then you can specify which rule set file you want to use to import this data. And once you select it, you say apply rules. And this will tell you, I'm going to consider this to be a section, a section, a section. These are all requirements. And then these are user stories. These are user stories. These are non-functional requirements. So it's telling you visually that, hey, is your rule set being interpreted correctly? If it's not, go make changes to it, and then reapply, and then see if you're getting it right. Okay, so this is a way to validate your rule set. So at which point you can go ahead and click import. If you have created a particular smart doc template, you can choose that, which should be consistent with the structure of the word import you're trying to do. I'll use the basic template. Basic template is sort of a generic template that allows you to import anything into a smart doc, and you can author anything. So I'm going to just do a basic one, and I'll just say BRD imported Word. I'll hit OK. At this point, what it did was it actually created a new document. It created a new document with all the work items in it. And you can see all of these. In fact, if I go to the work item type, you will see that that it created the appropriate sections, that it created requirements and user stories and non-functional requirements, and organized it the way you would expect it to. Okay. So now you have the ability to import Word documents with bullets or numbers as individual work items. And previously, we already had a way where you could import all the bullets under a section as description or some other field. But now you have an additional capability there. By the way, if you have any question, please feel free to add it to the question list. We'll cover those towards the end. So that's that. Next, we'll take a look at test suites. So within the test plan area, you have the ability now to add a test point. So I here have I'm creating a smart report with test plan to test suite to test point. And the test suite has test runs. Test point is just showing the last result of a test case being executed. Then you've test run, test results, and this is the test result is really the result of executing a single test case. So if you run it 5 times, it will show that 5 times here. And then at the step level as well, and the new bugs. And in test point, I've configured here things like outcome and config name and tester and so on. And as discussed earlier, we've added additional properties here, such as result attachments or the total number of passes, fails, and so on. So these are additional properties that have now been supported. And there are additional properties on the test run side as well. Okay. So you can configure your smart report in this manner. And by the way, there is an attachment added to this webinar. So if you go under it is under handouts. So there are 2 different attachments I'd like to point out. One is the test execution report PDF file and a Word import configuration file. And those are sort of detailed tech notes on how to use them. So once you configure this, and then when we run it, we get this report. So this report is showing how our test plans are broken up into test suites. And then it'll show you, this is your test point. So you can see that this test case failed. It was run on Windows 10. It was run by the tester called trial. And the second one failed, and the third one passed. So this is just showing you a summary data. So if you just wanted the final test results of a given test case, then in your designer, you will get rid of the rest of it because you're interested in the last run. And then what you can then do is it's showing you your test run and showing you the totals here. So I ran 1 in this test run and it passed. And then this is the detail of that test case execution. So that test case did pass, and there were 7 steps, all 7 passed. It was run by the tester. And then it's showing you all the steps in it, right? And they all passed in this case. And you'll again see the date format is again consistent with the way we had configured it earlier. And then the same thing continues, but I do want to show you something. So by the way, I did add, let's see, where here. So I did add a bug against a test run, the test case that I ran. And so I've added the repro step along with the bug in my report. And then lastly, I want to point out is in the attachment. So in this particular test case, this test case failed. I've added a comment, which is now reported here as well, and an attachment was created against it as well. So if you click on it, you can get to you can download it and then view it. Okay. So our test reporting is getting better thanks to the feedback we are getting from our users. And I think many of you have asked for these enhancements, including the test point and the additional properties and the test run comments and attachments. So they all have been now made available. The other thing you can also do is from a traceability point of view. So in this traceability matrix, what I'm doing is I'm showing a test plan to test suite to test point. And for test point, I'm only showing, I've added the outcome to it. I'm not showing a lot of other properties. I just want a summary of things. And so in that case, when you run it, you will see the test plan. Second test plan has 2 test cases in it. And this test case, this is your test point results for this test suite. So there were 3 test cases in there, and 2 failed, 1 passed. Of course, you can add other properties like test case ID of the title and so on and so forth. So the test point, again, is the final result or the last executed test result, so that you don't have to look at 10 execution and find the latest, but this is the current status of the test case execution. All right. And the next thing is RecIF. So we are releasing a new product, and that's the RecIF import export. So OMG, it's a standards body, has a format called RecIF, the requirements interchange format. And the intent of this is to exchange data between different systems. You can also use this to just move data from one Azure DevOps account to the other, or from on-prem to on the cloud, or vice versa. But generally, it's used for data interchange between different systems. So what we have done is we have implemented RecIF as a new offering, and this is how it works. Now, what you can do is you can export the data. So let's say I've got a requirements hierarchy here, or it can be whatever work items you may want to exchange with other systems. Many of our clients that are moving from doors or other systems, they'll sort of export data this way and move the data in, or they'll use the bridge. Other people use it because their delivery partners are using other systems and they want to interchange data. And by the way, note that this import is incremental import as well. So you can import the data from that system, they can send you an update, and then you can incrementally update the data. So it won't create new records, but simply update those records. So let's see how it works. So you go here, let's export this. And so when you're exporting, it's showing you these are the work items I'm going to export. There's a configuration file where you can specify what is the Azure DevOps entity and work item that is, and their attributes that you want to export. So you can add additional export. You can choose other attributes that you want to export as well. And then you provide what name do you want on the exported side. So by default, we give it the same name, but you could change these names if you like. Okay, and you can also do mapping on links. So in one link, it's one system, the link is called X, and on our side, it's called Y. You can provide the mapping. So in this case, a child will be called a child by default, but you can call it something else if the other system expects it to be different. So you can do these types of transformations in the process. Okay, so once you have the configuration done, you can export the data. And so we'll proceed. Oh yeah, actually there's one thing I want to show you. So one of the other things you can do is you can actually download a configuration, or you can upload a mapping file. Okay, so this data can be stored locally and you can share it with other people, but you can download it and upload if you already have one. So let's go ahead and export this data. We'll proceed to export. And so it will create a file. I'll click here to download it. So now the file is downloaded. It's a RecIF file. And we're done. Okay, so now let's go to another system, and this project has no data. Now you could be doing this in another requirement system that you or your partners might be using. You simply want to do data interchange. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll do an import. And so when we're doing import, I'll just choose the latest file that I generated. I'll go to my mapping file. I'll show you what the mapping file is. So it's essentially the same mapping file. Again, the system, when you export or import, it'll show you what data it's seeing and what the mapping it thinks by default, but you can change it again. When you're importing to ADO, you'll get dropdowns. So you can't just type in a link type name that doesn't exist. So you'll get a very particular set of options that are available. Again, same thing goes for field types or fields you can select from. But it's essentially the same concept as when you're exporting. But while importing, of course, the constraint is defined by the process template in your current project within Azure DevOps. Okay, so you do this again, you can download and you can upload your file, so you don't have to define them all the time. So for the import file, we'll go ahead and we'll say import. It's going to use the current configuration file, and we will go ahead and import it. So the import is done. It's saying refresh the screen, which we will, and voila. So you can see all the rich text content came through. The linking came through, so you can see the structure is there properly, and so on and so forth. Right. So description came through, acceptance criteria came through because that was defined in our mapping that it should be imported. We had done the same thing for exporting. So that's the RecIF capability within our product suites now. All right, so that is what I wanted to show you. We've got 15 minutes to go. And I see we have a bunch of questions. So I'm going to see how many of them I can answer in the time we have left. So question number 1, with the test execution report screenshot, is there a way to embed the image rather than link to the ADO? Yes. So when we looked at this report, this is actually embedded. There is an embedded image, and when I actually click on it, it downloads a big version of it. Of course, we can't put a 600 by 600 image in here because the document would not be readable, but it is embedded. The next question is on the test report, can you only run them if you have higher level license, or do you need that licenses create them and anyone can run them? So the test run reporting is part of, so whoever can create it, whoever can do the test execution, you don't need a license from Modern Requirements for that. You only need a license to generate this report using Smart Report or Traceability. But if you want to report on test execution results, you do require an Enterprise Plus edition of the license. The next question is, can I use the small smart editor when the main smart editor is in collapsed mode? Not sure what you mean by that. So you can work on the smart editor in the right panel. I guess that's what you mean by the small smart editor. The main smart editor, I mean, there probably won't be a need to use both of them at once. So you'll either open up the full view or you'll work on the small view. But of course, while the small is on the right, you can still open up the full smart editor. Hopefully that answers your question. Can you change the background color of a SmartEd doc? I don't think so, but that's a good idea. I'm going to make a note of that we should support a dark theme. So thank you for that. The next one is the change date available only in Smart Doc or in Smart Reports and Advanced Reporting? Yes, it is available everywhere. It's even available in the audit report, and so yeah, it's available across the board. The next one is how to enable the editor window in Smart Docs. So basically, like if you close this, then click on search, it'll open up the right panel, or you click on insert, it'll open up the right panel. And the third tab in here is the Smart Editor tab. Of course, if you're using Azure DevOps on the cloud with Modern Requirements, then you should already have this feature. If you're using it on-prem with Azure DevOps and MR on-prem, then you'll need to install the latest version of Modern Requirements 2022, and then you will see these capabilities. Can you change the default font in Smart Docs? I know we did something with regards to the default fonts. So in the Smart Editor, yes, you can. This is not done in this release. It was done in the previous release. So you can. Does word import cost extra as part of standalone license? So Smart Doc is a feature of Enterprise Plus. So if you have Enterprise Plus, you will see this option under New show up. So it depends on which license type you have. But if you do have a lower level license type, you can always upgrade for the difference. The other question is, when the Smart Doc is used to export from test plan module, all I get is test plan name and start and end date. Why can't Smart Report be similar to export to test plan to get all the suites cases along with the steps without having to link them? So the way Azure DevOps works is, in Azure DevOps, when you go to your test suite, so in Azure DevOps, when you create a test plan and a test suite and multiple test cases in them, it does not create links between them. So Azure DevOps doesn't do it. It doesn't do a sort of a work item link. It keeps the linking information in a separate database. In addition to that, the test run information or the test point information are not work items at all. So what we have done is that we have created virtual work items and virtual links and virtual properties, so you can actually report on them. So you will see in one of the attachments I have provided, you will see that there is documentation on how to configure it, where you can actually pull this data, although there's no real links between them, or in this case, that these are not even real work items, but they will appear to you as work items for reporting and traceability. So if you download this from the handouts, you'll be able to see how to generate these reports. So it's really the strategy that Microsoft took. It didn't directly translate to the work we had done, so we actually created a bridge. Of course, all of that is transparent to you guys when you're using it, but so now you do have the ability to pull all of that data together. Is automated testing supported? Is an example of linking automation test case results to test cases. Yes, the answer is yes. Automated testing is supported, and you can link automated test results to testing. I think when you do the automation using Microsoft Azure DevOps tools or tools that have good integration, you will see those results in the system. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the environment set up for automated testing to show you that, but that's really more of an Azure DevOps question than a model requirements question. Plus, I don't have the environment set up, so I couldn't show it to you. But I'm certain that the automated testing would link the test results to would link it in their test database, and then you can use model requirements to extract the report in this way. The other one is when we use Smart Word to export test plans to be sent to client, is there a way to add column like pass, fail, and comments configuration? We send them the copies, so it won't use TFS to run our UAT to record the status of the comments. Is there, let's see, when we use Smart Docs to export test plans, okay, you use probably mean Smart Report, not Smart Word. Unless this is about Smart Word, one of our legacy products. Yeah, so if this is a Smart Word document question, then please write to our support team, and they can tell you how to do that. Then write to our support team, please. Simply support@modernrequirements.com. Of course, if it is a Smart Report question, then as I showed you today, yes, you can get either the test point or the test run reporting along with comments and images, which we have just added in the latest release. Can RecIF be used with Confluence? So it depends on how Confluence has implemented RecIF. So if they've followed, I mean, we have basically followed the standard that OMG has published. So if they're following the same standard, then my answer should be yes. Of course, you can always do a test with RecIF and Confluence, and let us know if you have any issues. And if you do have any issues, we can look into it. Is it an issue on their side or our side? But our implementation has been against the OMG standard. And by the way, for Confluence thing, or if you want to just try out the RecIF tool, just go to login into the client area, download RecIF from there. If it is on-prem, if it is on the cloud, then write to us and let us know, and we'll enable it for you for a trial. Is there a way to move all test plans from TFS to ADO? So I suspect it means from on-prem to cloud, keeping the same test kit as move all the data. I know we sell a bridge that does that, and I know there is also something that Microsoft provides more natively to export, move your entire collection from on-prem to the cloud. So you might want to look into that, but I know we do sell a bridge to do just that. Is RecIF available for each MR version? So RecIF is actually a separate product. So it's got a completely different license. It's not a license per user, but by server. So you won't need licenses for everyone in the that's using MR or others. You just need one license. And for that, please reach out to your sales contact at Modern Requirements. So is it possible to transfer Smart Docs with RecIF? So at this point in time, we are doing import and export using work items. We are currently implementing a Smart Doc centric RecIF import export. So not right now, but we expect that to come shortly. But of course, the work items in a Smart Doc can be imported, exported today, but it's done through the query or the backlog view. Is there a way to pull actual programming out of this into a document format? That's an interesting question. We are looking at implementing traceability to change sets, so you can go from requirements to change sets. But you know, on this point, if you can reach out to me, that would be really good, because I like to understand what your use case is, because we're doing things around that, and I want to make sure that I understand what your need is and see if we can accommodate that in the work that we're currently doing. So the best way to reach me personally would be at this address. I've just typed it in the in the discussion area. Actually, I should send it to everyone. Okay. So if you write to me, then we can collaborate and see what you need there, because that's something, again, we are working on. The other question is, in the test report, can it include the name of the user who performed the test? Yeah, that's the tester field that that I showed you earlier. Where is that? Yeah. So since we're running out of time, but yeah, we do. You can include the tester field, and it will show you that information. How does RecIF import handle traceability of requirements? So firstly, it does handle traceability between work items or objects, thus requirements. So basically, RecIF has a particular format where in the RecIF file you specify the linking. And again, when you import or export, those rules are honored, and therefore both the traceability is exported as well as imported. Oh, I see. So when you were asking, there was somebody asking about the collapse mode, as in this view. And so what it does do, yeah, so it does work. The answer, John, is that the right panel does work in the collapse mode. And the last question is, I'm using DevOps Cloud with MR22, but do not see the feature for test point word import. Do I need something to enable it? So you would see it if you have the Enterprise Plus edition of Modern Requirements. If you have any SKU below that, you will not see these options. So again, if you do want to use these capabilities and you don't have Enterprise Plus, please reach out to your sales contact, or simply write to sales@modernrequirements.com and somebody will reach out to you. If you do have Enterprise Plus and you don't see it, then please reach out to us again at support@modernrequirements.com, because then we should look into it, because it should show up if you have the right license type. So folks, that is the answers to your questions. Thank you so much for your questions and your participation. Again, remember that what we do is based on what you're asking us to do. So please keep those requests coming in. We are working currently on update 1 for MR 2022. The update 1 is going to be end of next month or in August, somewhere during that time frame. And there's a whole bunch of really exciting stuff that's coming in that release. And again, thank you very much. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.